Dear soul, it's me, your guardian angel. I'm just filled with joy to finally bring you this really important message straight from the heavens. You finding this message right now isn't an accident. This moment was guided, and this message was prepared just for your heart. It holds a truth you were meant to hear today. I really need you to stay with me until the very end. There are things in this message that could change everything for you, but only if you truly listen. If you click away now, if you ignore what's about to unfold, you might miss the exact sign you've been asking the universe for. Something wonderful has happened. A big change, a realization in the soul of someone you might not even suspect. The first few words might sound a bit confusing, but I promise, as the truth comes out, every piece will fit together. Every word here is meant to reach deep into your heart. You're about to find out something that's been hidden, something your heart always sensed but couldn't quite grasp until now. This message is full of love, a love that grew quietly, waited patiently, and has now found the courage to speak up. And yes, you'll probably recognize something familiar in these words. This isn't just a message. It's like a confession, a call, a spiritual wake-up call meant just for you. So, I ask you now, open your heart, clear your mind, and let every part of this message sink in. If you feel, even for a second, that this is talking directly to you, type Amen in the comments or just whisper it to yourself. Let the universe know you're ready to receive this. Because what I'm about to share could be the start of the love story your soul has always been waiting for. But before I read this special letter to you, there's something you need to understand, something that will change how you see everything. Let's begin. Something significant happened, dear soul, something really deep, and I need you to hear every word I'm about to share. This isn't just a story. It's the truth from a heart that has finally woken up. The person who wrote this letter went through a huge shift, so powerful that even the heavens seemed to pause and listen. It wasn't a sudden thing, but came from quiet moments, lonely feelings, and that persistent little voice inside that wouldn't let them rest. For a long time, this person felt lost emotionally, trying to find meaning in all the wrong ways. They thought they'd found answers with other people, in other voices, in smiles that seemed promising, but just left them feeling emptier. They smiled when they had to, put on a brave face when they felt lost, but inside, something was missing. And that something, that presence, was you. They didn't know it back then. They couldn't see clearly through all the fear and confusion. Life had fed them ideas about love that made them think they had to settle, or just move on, or try to forget. And for a while they tried. They tried to push the memory of you away. Not because they didn't care, but because they cared too much and felt they weren't good enough. But the soul, dear one, the soul never forgets its truth. Even in silence, even across distance, even through years, something inside them kept pulling them back towards you. Maybe it was your name popping into their head, a certain feeling, a memory surfacing out of the blue, a song, a scent, a dream that felt incredibly real. It started small, a thought here, a faster heartbeat there. But over time, that pull became too strong to ignore. They found themselves thinking about moments you shared, or maybe moments they wished you had shared. Old feelings they buried started coming back up, like waves hitting the shore. And then came the questions, the kind that keep you up at night. What if? Why now? Could it be? At first, they fought it. They thought it was just wistful thinking, their heart playing tricks. But then, something happened, something only perfect timing could arrange. A sign, a dream, a moment of sudden quiet that brought total clarity. And in that clarity, they saw you, not just your face, but your energy, your essence, the timeless part of you their soul always knew. When that moment hit, when they finally understood, the realization was so powerful it brought tears to their eyes. They'd been searching everywhere for something that was always connected to you. The love they craved wasn't with someone else, in another place, or in some other dream. It was in the connection they had with you. Suddenly, everything else felt small, fake, wrong. They started looking back at their choices, not physically, but spiritually. They thought about the times they pulled away, the conversations they avoided, the silence they chose instead of speaking their truth. And every one of those moments held the same pain, the pain of losing someone they never truly stopped loving. But don't think this change was impulsive. This isn't a fleeting feeling. It's a soul-deep knowing, something that grew and strengthened through life's challenges. They're not the same person they used to be. Their heart has changed, their spirit has grown, and most importantly, they're no longer afraid to feel what they feel. They now understand that love isn't just a feeling. It's a choice, a sacred promise, a path two souls walk together, even when separated by time or situation. And by choosing to write this message, this letter you're about to fully hear, they chose you. They chose truth. They chose to stop hiding behind fear and finally say what their soul has been trying to say for so long. You might wonder, why now? Why this specific moment? And I, your angel, will tell you. Because this is the time you're finally ready to hear it. This is the moment the universe prepared, not just for their awakening, but for yours too. You were never forgotten. You weren't just a passing thought. You were, and still are, the person their heart considers home. And yes, it's possible that when you first hear their words, you'll feel a rush of different emotions, confusion, hope, maybe even doubt. That's normal. When truth arrives after a long silence, it can feel like thunder. But let this thunder wake something up in you. Let it shake off old beliefs and make room for something real. They never stopped loving you, even when they didn't know how. To say it, even when they ran away, even when they told themselves it was over. Deep down, beneath all the noise of life, your name was always there, a quiet, special echo that never faded. They're coming to you now with open hands, not to ask for anything, but to offer something. Not to fix the past, but to honor what still lives between you. They know they made mistakes. They know time has passed. But what they also know, with the kind of clarity only love can bring, is that it's not too late. That real love waits, not just by standing still, but for the right divine timing. And that timing has arrived. It's here right now, in this message, in these words, in your heart as it opens to what you always hoped might someday be true. So I ask you again, dear soul, stay with me. Listen closely. What's coming next will carry the voice of someone who was once afraid to speak, but who now knows exactly what they feel and why it always led back to you. They want you to understand how far they've come to bring this message to you. And they're not finished speaking, because the next words aren't just memories. They're the beginning of the truth you've been waiting for. And that truth is written just for you. And before we continue with this very special message, if you feel moved to support this space where we connect, you can become a member of the channel. And if this message touches your heart, feel free to click on thanks below the video. It helps us keep sharing messages full of love and hope like this one. Now, let's get back to what matters most. And now, dear soul, the letter begins. I, your guardian angel, will read it to you, word for word, just as it was written, not with ink, but with longing, with unshed tears, with a silence that became too loud to ignore. Every phrase, every heartbeat captured here was meant to reach you at the perfect divine time. That time is now. I don't know how to begin this, and maybe I never truly will, but I have to try, because not saying anything has hurt more than every word I was ever afraid to speak. They hesitated while writing this. I saw it. Their hands trembled, not from doubt, but because the weight of everything left unsaid felt so heavy. Gathering their courage, they poured their heart into what you're about to hear. There were days I told myself I had moved on. Nights I pretended the dreams about you didn't matter. I tried to convince my heart that it had just imagined the connection, that it wasn't real. But it always was. Even before the letter was finished, their spirits started to shift. There's something powerful about speaking the truth, even if it feels late. Their soul knew they couldn't hide anymore from what had always been inside them. You, the memory of you, the energy of you, the light you left behind when our paths went different ways. They continued. I saw your face in places I shouldn't have, in strangers in crowded rooms. I heard your voice in songs I didn't even like, until they reminded me of something we never said but always felt. I laughed at things I knew you'd find funny, and cried when I thought maybe you'd forgotten me. But I never forgot you. Do you feel it, dear soul? Do you feel the sincerity in their words? This isn't made up. This is a heart that struggled with itself for too long, finally breaking the silence. I kept telling myself, you're fine. You've moved on. They probably moved on too. Don't mess everything up by looking back. But the truth is, I was never really fine. And I don't know if you've moved on or if you ever even loved me the way I loved you. But I had to write this. Their voice, even written down, carries a rawness that only real love can express. This is a confession without any guarantees. They're not writing to manipulate, beg, or demand anything. They're writing because not writing would mean living with a regret too big to carry. I loved you in silence. I loved you across the distance. I love you in the moments I told myself not to, and I still do. Not in a desperate way that longs for something it can't have, but with the quiet certainty that some connections just never die. Let those words settle in your spirit. Let them echo softly. They aren't asking you to feel the same way. They aren't assuming what's in your heart. They're only revealing what has always lived in theirs. Maybe this letter is foolish. Maybe you'll never even hear it. Maybe it's too late. But if I never say this, if I never try, then a part of me will always wonder what might have been. And I've decided that's something I can't carry anymore. This is where their healing truly began. In the act of speaking, of writing, of letting love take a real shape. Their tears, unseen by the world, are known by the heavens. And now, they are known by you. You were my peace when the world felt loud, my softness when I was being hard on myself. You were the one I compared everyone else to without even realizing I was doing it. And even if this love remains only mine, it was the most honest thing I've ever felt. I know, dear one, these words are stirring things inside you. Maybe confusion, maybe recognition, maybe something in between. But stay with me, because what they say next is something you might not expect. They paused for a long time before writing this last part. They stared out a window, whispering your name. They weren't sure they had the right to say it, but they did. And once they did, the truth flowed out like water breaking through a dam. I'm not writing this to reopen old wounds. I'm writing because the truth never really healed until I accepted what it really was. I love you, and I probably always will. There it is. Simple, quiet, solid. But there's more. They continued, almost in a whisper. I don't expect anything, not a reply, not a sign. I just needed you to know, because if your heart ever wondered whether mine still remembered, the answer is yes. It always has. And now, dear soul, we've only just begun. The letter continues. Their heart still has more to say. In the next part, they reveal why they kept their feelings hidden for so long, what held them back, what they feared, what they almost lost because of silence. You've heard their truth, but you haven't yet heard their pain. And you need to, because in that pain lies the key to everything that comes next. They held it in for so long, way too long. And the silence didn't come from a lack of feeling, just the opposite. It came from fear, from old wounds too deep to show anyone, from doubts that shouted louder than hope. It came from moments in their past that taught them to hide instead of speak up. And now, dear soul, as I, your guardian angel, continue guiding you through this special message, I need you to know this. What they're about to reveal isn't easy, but it's true. And it's time you knew why they seemed to disappear into silence. Even when their heart was screaming your name. They begin softly, almost like an apology. I didn't walk away because I stopped loving you. I walked away because I didn't know how to love you the right way. I didn't think I could be enough. I was scared that if I showed you all of me, the broken pieces, the messy thoughts, the fear of being hurt again, you'd leave. And so they built walls. Quiet ones, invisible ones, but walls that kept their truth locked inside and kept you at a distance they regretted every single day. They never wanted to vanish. They never wanted to seem cold or distant or like they didn't care. But they were fighting inner battles no one else could see. Old memories, old scars, voices from their past whispering lies like, "You're not worthy, you'll ruin this too, don't get too close." And so they ran. I convinced myself it was better to stay silent. That if I just kept living my life, kept distracting myself, eventually the ache for you would fade. But it didn't. It only got louder. They tried to fill the space you left with routines, distractions, even other people who never really knew the real them. Those others might have shared a room, a laugh, a moment, but no one touched the part of their soul that you reached. No one. Every time I looked into someone else's eyes, I realized they weren't yours. Every time I heard laughter, I wondered if yours still sounded the same. I tried to forget you, but forgetting you felt like trying to forget how to breathe. And yet, they kept silent. Why? Because they thought it was too late. Because time kept moving forward. Because the longer they waited, the more convinced they became that your heart had moved on. That maybe you'd found someone else. Someone who didn't need time. Who didn't hide. Who didn't disappear just when things started to feel real. And that thought crushed them. There were nights I couldn't sleep. I just stare at the ceiling and imagine what I'd say to you if I had just one more chance. I practiced conversations in my head that would never actually happen. I'd cry silently into my pillow and beg the universe for a sign that you still thought of me sometimes, that you hadn't completely erased me. But the universe seemed silent too, at least for a while, until something shifted. There wasn't a big dramatic moment, no lightning bolt revelation, just stillness. A quiet moment where their soul finally spoke louder than their fear. Where they heard a whisper, not from the outside world, but from deep within. Tell the truth, even if your voice shakes. And that's what led to this letter, this truth you're hearing now. But before they could write it, they had to face themselves, the parts they hid not only from you, but from their own reflection. The guilt, the shame, the longing, the ache. They had to feel it all, and they did. I wish I had been stronger back then, they write. I wish I had trusted the way I felt instead of questioning it. But most of all, I wish I had told you the truth, that you mattered, that you still matter, that I never stopped wondering what we could have been. They know they can't go back and change the past. They know words can't undo time. But they also know something else now. Silence is no longer safe. Real love doesn't thrive in hiding. It lives in truth. If I had one wish, they say, it wouldn't be to erase the mistakes. It would be to give us a second chance. Not to repeat what was, but to finally live what could have been. Dear soul, I know you're feeling so much right now. Confusion, hope, maybe even your own fear. That's okay. This kind of honesty shakes us. But let me remind you, this message didn't come to hurt you. It came to heal. It came to shine a light on what was always hidden under layers of doubt and time. They didn't write this expecting a miracle. They wrote it because their heart refused to stay silent any longer, because the pain of not knowing what might have been became greater than the fear of rejection. Even if you don't feel the same anymore, they continue. I needed to say this. I needed you to know that at least once in your life, someone loved you deeply, quietly, endlessly, even if it was from afar. Their pain was real, but so was their love. And both of those truths now belong to you. So what comes next, dear soul, isn't just more of the message, it's a turning point. Because in the next part of this letter, they say something they never dared admit, not even to themselves. A truth so vulnerable, it could only be spoken once the pain was faced and the silence was broken. Prepare your heart, because their confession is going to change everything. And now, dear soul, we arrive at the part of the message holding the most precious truth. The confession buried so deep, it could only surface after every wall crumbled, after every fear was faced. This is where their soul stops holding back. This is where everything becomes crystal clear. I, your guardian angel, have waited for this moment with you, because what you're about to hear will touch a place in your heart that only divine love can reach. They didn't write these next words lightly. They wrote them with tears, with trembling hands, with the weight of every silent day pressing down on them. And yet, what came out wasn't despair, it was clarity. A truth finally allowed to surface after being denied, resisted, and hidden for far too long. I've tried to run from this, they begin. Try to silence it, try to pretend I could live without it. But the truth is, I love you. Not the idea of you, not the memory, not the what if. I love you. Still. Deeply, completely. and I think I always have. There, it is, spoken not with desperation, but with certainty. No more pretending, no more waiting for the perfect moment. The moment is now, and this truth, once hidden, now shines like sunlight breaking through clouds. They continue. I thought maybe if I didn't say it, it would fade. I thought if I buried it under distractions, responsibilities, pride, it would disappear. But real love doesn't just vanish. It waits. It humbles you. It shows you that even if you travel far, even if you try to replace it, nothing compares to the connection that feels like it was written in the stars. Dear soul, feel those words not just in your mind, but in your heart. You were never forgotten, never replaced, never unloved. Their love didn't end when the talking stopped. It didn't fade with time. It lived quietly, patiently, waiting for them to finally accept it. Maybe I was afraid because I knew they right. I knew that what I felt for you was bigger than me. I knew that if I really let myself feel it, I'd be changed. And I wasn't ready to change back then, but I am now. They're not just declaring their love, they're owning it, standing strong in it, no longer afraid of its depth, no longer running from its power, because they finally see what their soul was trying to tell them all along. Love like this doesn't come around twice. You were never just someone I cared about. You were the one my heart always circled back to, even when I wandered off. The one I compared everyone else to without realizing it. The one I prayed for, even when I didn't know I was praying. Every part of their being has arrived at this realization, and in sharing it with you, they're offering the most sacred piece of themselves, their truth. But this isn't just a declaration, it's a turning point. I'm not telling you this to make things complicated. I'm telling you because I can't keep living a half-truth. I can't keep pretending I didn't love you with everything I had, even when I didn't know how to show it. And then comes the moment, the line that brings everything into focus. The truth is, the owner of my heart has always been. They write this slowly, deliberately. They want you to feel every word, not as pressure or obligation, but as something precious that belongs to you, and only you. I saw their face as they wrote that line. They closed their eyes and whispered your name, almost afraid it would echo too loudly across time. But there was no echo, only resonance, because their soul knew it had finally said what it needed to say. If you're hearing this now, it's because I finally found the courage I didn't have before. And no matter what you feel, I needed you to know. I loved you. I love you. And I probably always will. This is more than a confession. It's a release. A freeing of everything that lived inside them in silence. And now, it lives in you. You no longer have to wonder if it was real. You no longer have to question what you meant. You know now, I used to wonder if I'd ever get the chance to tell you, they're right. And now that I am, I don't expect anything from you. Not a response, not a reunion. Just understanding. Just a moment of truth between our hearts, wherever they may be. They aren't asking for promises. They aren't demanding closure. They're giving you something pure, honesty. And through that honesty, they are healing. And maybe, just maybe, so are you. Because the truth has power, and now that it has been spoken, nothing can ever be quite the same again. All I ask is, if a part of you ever wondered what I felt, or if you ever doubted that you were truly loved, let this message be your answer. Let it be the light that stays with you. Because no matter where life takes us next, you will always be the owner of my heart. These are the words they waited so long to say. And now, they are yours. But dear soul, they're not done yet. Because in the next part of this message, they speak of what they truly desire now. Not just in their heart, but for the two of you. They have one wish, one hope, one dream they're finally ready to say out loud. And what they want next, well, that depends on you. Dear soul, now that the truth has been spoken, now that their heart is laid bare before you, there's something more they want to say. They're not just reaching into the past. They're reaching forward into a future they never dared to imagine could still exist. Their brave words have all led to this moment. The place where they finally allow themselves to hope again. Not just to remember, not just to confess, but to desire. Yes, they desire something, but it's not what you might think. They aren't asking for guarantees or promises set in stone. What they truly long for is something softer, something sacred, the chance to begin again, straight from the heart. If there's one thing I've come to understand, they write, it's that life is too short to keep running from the people who make our souls feel alive. And you've always done that for me, even from a distance. They're not afraid to admit it anymore. They're not hiding behind logic or fear. What they're asking for now is honest, heartfelt, and rooted in something real. I don't need everything to be perfect. I don't even need to know exactly what happens next. But what I do know is that I want to try. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your voice again. I want to know who you are today, not just who you were back then. Can you feel how their heart is opening in these words? Not with pressure, not with expectations, but with courage. The courage to say, I still believe in this. And perhaps, somewhere deep in your own soul, you feel something similar starting to stir. I want to understand you. I want to listen without judgment. I want to give you a space where you can be fully yourself and where I can be too. I don't want to play games. I don't want to waste time. I just want what's real. They know it's bold. They know it's risky. But they also know what's at stake. A connection that never truly died. A bond that may have gone quiet, but was never actually broken. There's so much we never said, so much I never asked. And if you're willing, I want to start again. Not from where we left off, but from where we are now. Two people who have lived, learned, and still feel something that just won't go away. This is their heart's greatest desire. Not to relive the past, but to create something new. Something wiser, stronger, something forged through time, distance, and the kind of love that only deepens in silence. They know the choice isn't theirs alone. They know love needs two people walking together. But they're ready now, ready to walk towards you, if you'll meet them halfway. I'm not asking you to forget any pain. I'm not asking you to pretend nothing happened. I'm just asking you to let me in, slowly, gently, so we can find out if the love we felt still has a place to grow. They're not naive. They know life is complicated and hearts can be fragile. But they also know that some chances are worth taking. And this one, this moment, feels like the chance they were meant to take. Even if it scares me, I choose to be honest. I choose to ask. I choose to risk hearing no, because the thought of never knowing what yes could mean is something I just can't bear anymore. These aren't words spoken lightly. These are the words of someone who has searched their soul and decided that loving you is something they can no longer keep locked inside. You deserve to know. You deserve to be loved out loud. You deserve to be chosen, fully, freely, and without hesitation. And that's what I want to do, if you'll let me. They pause, let the silence breathe, and then add something more, something only someone who has truly changed would dare to say. Whatever your answer is, I will honor it. I will respect your heart, your timing, your truth. But I needed to give this to you, not to get something back, but to finally be free of fear, to finally say what my soul has whispered for far too long. Dear soul, these words carry power because they are pure. They come from a place of surrender, not weakness, but strength. The kind of strength only real love can give. And now it's in your hands. They have spoken their desire. They have made their wish known. And now, the universe holds its breath, waiting to see if two hearts, once separated by time and silence, might choose to walk toward each other once more. But there's more, because in the next part of this special message, they will share what they envision, not just what they hope for, but what kind of life, what kind of love they want to build with you. A future not imagined in fantasy, but rooted in truth. A life that begins with one simple yes. Now, dear soul, having spoken their truth and opened the door to something new, they turn their heart toward the future. This isn't just a vague hope. It's a vision, a quiet, sacred longing for the kind of life that two souls, awakened and healed, can build together. And as I, your guardian angel, read these words to you, I want you to listen not only with your ears, but with the part of you that still believes in love. Because what they're about to describe isn't fantasy. It's the kind of real that's born from truth, forgiveness, and choice. I've imagined it, they write gently, not with unrealistic dreams, but with my feet on the ground and my heart fully awake. I've imagined what it would feel like to just be near you again, to have a simple day with you, doing ordinary things but feeling completely at peace. That's what they long for, peace. Not drama, not a whirlwind romance, just presence. Just love in its truest, calmest form. I don't want perfection, they continue. I want real. I want to wake up and know that I'm not pretending anymore. That I'm next to someone who knows me and who lets me know them. Someone I can trust, not because they're flawless, but because they're honest. They dream of building something not flashy or extravagant, but deeply meaningful. A shared life where laughter is easy and burdens are shared. A place where the soul can rest and the heart can truly thrive. I imagine a quiet morning with you, they write. Coffee, a shared look, a moment of silence that says everything. I imagine holding your hand in a crowd and feeling like nothing else matters because I have my home right there in you. This isn't about going back in time. It's about moving forward with intention, with maturity, and with a deep understanding of what love truly means. I want to support you, they add, to be your safe place, to celebrate your wins, big or small, and to just sit with you in the hard times without needing to fix anything, just being there. Present, grounded, real. They dream of a partnership that feels like truth, a love that breathes through all seasons, not just the easy ones. A connection that doesn't rely on constant fireworks, but burns steadily, like a gentle, sacred flame. I want to know what you think about when no one's listening, they say. I want to hear your doubts, your fears, your hopes. I want to build a space with you where both of us can be fully human and fully loved. Dear soul, can you see the depth of their vision? This isn't about recreating something old. It's about co-creating something new. A new life, a new rhythm, a new love story that honors both of you just as you are now. Maybe we'll take walks at sunset, they muse. Maybe we'll travel, or maybe we'll just sit on a porch and talk about everything and nothing. I don't really care what we do, as long as we're doing it together. Together. That's the word they keep coming back to. Because for them, the future isn't just theirs anymore. It includes you. Not because they need you to save them. Not because they can't live without you. But because life, when shared with someone your soul recognizes, becomes something truly special. I want to be your friend first, they write. I want to rebuild that trust. I want to learn who you are now, without judgment or comparing you to the past. I want to fall in love with you all over again. Not with a memory, but with the person you've become. And they're not rushing, not pushing. They're offering a future that is slow, steady, intentional, but full of love. There will be days when we don't have all the answers, they admit. But I want to face those days with you. I want to grow with you. I want to build a relationship where we both feel seen, chosen, and safe. They talk about a home not made of bricks and mortar, but of moments. A home where kindness lives, where honesty is the foundation, where the past is honored but not repeated, and the future is shaped by caring for each other. If you let me in, they say, I won't promise perfection, but I will promise presence. I will promise to keep showing up. I will promise to do the work, to listen, to speak, to love you the way you deserve to be loved. Dear soul, they don't see this future as a rescue mission. They see it as a rebirth. Two people choosing each other again, not because they have to, but because they want to. And in this quiet vision they've written, there's no fear, no desperation, only love. Only a deep, grounded desire to walk hand in hand into whatever comes next. I want to laugh with you. They smile through the page, to dance with you when no one's watching, to remind you every single day that you are loved, fully, completely, endlessly. Their future is simple, honest, brave. And now that you've seen their heart, now that their vision has unfolded before you, there's only one thing left for them to say. Because in the final part of this letter, they left a message just for you. A single sentence that carries everything. The weight of the past, the truth of the present, and the hope for the future. And when you hear it, you'll know. You'll know that this was never just a message. It was a miracle, written just for your heart. And now, dear soul, we've reached the final part of this sacred message. You've listened with an open heart. You've walked through their fears, their silence, their truth, their love, and their vision for a future written not in fantasy, but in faith. As your guardian angel, I've carried every word gently to you because I've always known that your heart was meant to hear this. And now comes the final sentence. The sentence they left just for you, not merely as a closing line, but as a blessing, as a confirmation that this message, this love, this connection was always real. But before I reveal it, I want you to pause and just breathe. Let the light of everything you've heard settle into your spirit. Because this isn't just about them, it's about you. About what you feel right now. About what you're remembering even as you sit here quietly. About the echoes their words have awakened in your own soul. They didn't write this letter just to get something in return. They wrote it because they finally understood that love doesn't always have to be received to be real. Sometimes love simply needs to be known by the one who holds it and by the one it was always meant for. That's you. You were the light they couldn't forget, the memory they couldn't erase, the energy they kept feeling no matter how far life seemed to take them from you. You weren't just a chapter in their story. You were the heartbeat behind the whole thing. And now, here you are, at the end of a letter that maybe wasn't supposed to exist, hearing the final breath of a truth that refused to stay silent. They left this sentence for you. They wrote it with a kind of calm that only comes when everything inside you is clear. They didn't hesitate. They didn't overthink it. They simply wrote what their heart had been holding for a lifetime. If you ever doubt whether you were truly loved, remember that my heart smiled every time it thought of you. That's it. Simple, gentle, eternal. This is the truth the universe confirms. You are loved, not for who you pretended to be, but for who you truly are. That someone, somewhere, carried you in their heart with tenderness, with longing, with deep respect. That your existence mattered profoundly, not just to the world, but to one soul in particular. Theirs. And maybe now, in the quiet of this moment, you feel something shifting inside you. Not just the knowing that you were loved, but the knowing that you were still loved. That even if time tried to erase it, even if distance tried to silence it, love remembered. The heart remembered. The soul remembered. This letter isn't just a message. It's a mirror. It reflects the truth that love doesn't end. It transforms. It survives. It waits in the quiet corners of memory, in the spaces between dreams. It whispers your name in the softest places until one day you hear it again. And now you've heard it. Through them, through me, through the voice of something greater than both of us. So what do you do now? That is entirely your choice. You can close your eyes and hold this message close, like a precious secret. You could write your own letter back. You could choose to open a new chapter. You could stay in silence, or you could speak. You could reach out. You could believe that maybe, just maybe, the story isn't over. Because if you feel even a single tear welling up right now, if you feel a warmth spreading in your chest, if something inside you whispers, "This was meant for me," then you already know. This is real. This was never about coincidence. It was about perfect alignment. You were meant to hear this today at this exact moment because now you're ready. You've grown, you've healed, you've endured, you've searched. And the universe, in its infinite kindness, answered your search with this message. They found the courage to speak, and you found the courage to listen. That, dear soul, is a miracle. But I'm not quite done, because I, your guardian angel, want to leave you with something more, not another sentence from them, but a message straight from the divine. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of truth. You are worthy of a future that is gentle, beautiful, and real. And it is coming. Let your heart stay open. Let your soul remain soft. Let the light that was born in this message guide you forward. And if you truly feel that this letter was for you, say amen in your heart, speak it out loud, or write it below where others can see it and know you were here. You received it. You believed. Dear soul, if this video felt meaningful to you, please consider leaving a thanks below as a gesture of gratitude for this message. It helps us continue sharing these connections and words of faith. This is your sign, your blessing, your turning point. The angels are with you. Love has never left you. And the best part of your story is just beginning.